These days, I don't know if I'm allowed to call myself a member of the musician's court. To be frank, I never really was part of it. Despite owning plenty of access, I'm in truth nothing more than a bedroom guitarist, but as it is with many of my interests, reaching the potential of my tools is something I rarely if ever achieve. Many might wonder then what the point is of owning these magnificent items. Well, simply put, looking at them gives me joy. So even though I probably could do with a lot less, sometimes they're just too damn cool to pass on. I think there are two types of keyboard designs out there. The monolithic blocks of minimalism that cast a mocking shadow over anything that even dares to break that form, and the more daring designs, those that ask the question, why not? The Syntlabs 60 from Keebwerk definitely falls into the latter category with its instrument-inspired design and name. It's a dark and moody entry that custom keyboard world, at least in this color configuration, but there are also two other, brighter alternatives with a silver and E-white variant. Its looks are matched with its immaculate machining, which is no surprise considering the heritage of Keebwerk, which is responsible for some of the more crazy looking boards I've had a chance to check out. It's a joy to see a musically inspired keyboard, especially when the timing is so perfect, because there is an equally named keycap set that just came out as well. Mind you though, this isn't a collaboration, it's pure coincidence. The set is called Synth and is by a Mr. Max Volter aka MV and couldn't be a better match for the Syntlabs 60 if you ask me. Although there is one aspect that definitely does not match the 60, but I'll talk about that later. With mimicked sliders along the numbers row, colorful sequence squares for the modifiers, as well as knobs and fake equalizers, everything is here for the synth lover, and more. The set also comes in this fun box highlighting all the instrument-inspired artwork. But getting back from this little chorus and into the second verse, let's look at the design of the actual instrument. The two most striking elements are probably the railing that runs along the top and the aggressive grille at the back. I'm not sure if the pole is inspired by modular synthesizers or rack mounts, but whatever it is, the vintage vibes are strong and the only thing missing are wooden trims to complete the look. It's purely cosmetic, but if you really want to, it does technically have a semi-useful function where you can prop up notes or other written pieces, maybe even a page of sheet music if you dare. Classy cheese. Moving forward and over the edge, we see plenty of angled carvings and hidden lines that create quite a distinctive and interesting look, but the highlight surely is the grille. The entire back is lined by these 24 fins. Like the cooling on an amp, it creates an aggressive look that is immediately suppressed by the rounded nature of the fins. It also hides the connection nicely, creating a really cool look with the cable coming out of there. Which is an ongoing theme here as there are no visible screws on the surface of this board, they're all hidden beneath the caps. The grille can be removed too if you for some reason decide that you've changed your mind. It is also responsible for most of the weight, as we'll see later. But first, let's look at the bottom where we'll find the name embossed along with a waveform logo that is also present on the large and heavily padded carrying case that still fits the board fully built, by the way, just in case you were wondering. We also have 4 small but sturdy rubber feet holding this heavy boy in place. They are also rotated by 90 degrees between the top and bottom. I don't know why that is, and I also don't know why I'm pointing that out. There's something new to be discovered every time you look at it though, and I didn't get bored even after having stared at it extensively. This opinion is of course very subjective, but then again, how could I not be when talking about design? The front is shallower than usual at around 17.8mm and provides a nice and comfortable typing experience. In general, typing on this board was strangely comfortable. I immediately felt at home and wanted to just keep going. Sometimes I forget to talk about this in keyboard videos, which is weird because that's kinda important for keyboards, right? But I'm getting sidetracked here. The board is comfortable is what I'm trying to say. It's nothing special, but just like a good pop song, the familiarity wrapped in a different package is what sells it. But enough design vibes, let's open this up, or to be more precise, let's talk about the build process and find out what kind of undertones this soundbox is hiding. As alluded to before, the screws are all hidden from the outside. You have to remove the keycaps, or in my case where the board hasn't been built yet, you can simply look down and remove the 8 hex screws. After that, we can have a closer look at the top and bottom frame. The back has these super sharp tails. I will say they can be dangerous. Don't store this on a shaky shelf right above your head, but then again, never do that with a board this heavy anyway. The bottom frame feels super solid too, albeit not as flashy, it's still an impressive piece of aluminum. In the center is where we have the cutout for the daughter board that fits a really long USB-C port, as we can see here. But it fits nicely and can be easily secured with 2 additional hex screws. There's a little plastic waveform cover that goes over this, which is a nice touch if you ask me. Then it's off to the races with the attachment of the weight, aka grill. I think this comes attached if you get the board, but I was curious so I took it apart. It's a really heavy and solid piece, again beautifully machined, especially in this shiny gold version. There are 3 other color variants, black, silver and rose, so you can choose whatever matches your band. It's attached by 4 additional screws and fits securely on the back, which then encloses the USB-C port like we saw earlier. If we now turn our focus towards the PCB, we have some flexibility, not in terms of flexing, but in terms of configuration options. First, you can pick between HKKB and the 60 Win keyless and the 60 regular layout like the one I have here. The solder version offers options for a split backspace, which I did because it's awesome, a split right shift key, stepped and regular caps lock, and as far as I can tell, you can also split the spacebar, which I did not. I'm adventurous, but not that adventurous. I'll leave that to people with facial hair. Then we have a layer of PCB plate foam and the choice of up to 5 plate materials: aluminum, brass, FR4, POM and PC. I only have the brass and FR4, but I'll put both onto the microphone for you to listen to in a second. Before attaching everything, you have to pick your gaskets too. You get 2 styles in the box, a softer and harder one. I used the harder one on the FR4 and the softer one on the brass plate. Then it's time to add the switches. I also received these Sorrow keys and Geon ones. Sorrow keys kinda sounds like Sardaukar if you ask me. You know, those bad guys from that movie about Dust starring Timmy Chameleon.
The best thing you can do is just fail.
Anyway, these are pretty cool and I'm actually looking forward to trying them out on different boards as well. There is one critical issue I have though, and it's when you combine them with the FR4 plate. When I tried that, I couldn't get them on. Sometimes when you build a board, depending on the plate and the switch, you'll have a looser or tighter fit. If it's the former, you can remedy that by using switch film to create a more secure fit. This is definitely not required here, because by default it was so difficult to get them seated that I gave up over the fear of snapping the FR4 plate in half. The brass plate had no issues and neither did other switchers on the FR4, although I only tried a few, so keep this in mind when you build this board, or any other board for that matter. So I went with the brass plate and the Sardaukars in the first run, but then also tried out both plates with the Chosfox Voyagers, which are tactile switches. Let's finish by adding the top frame and securing it with the 8 hex screws again, and then take a listen to that. What do you think? It's less marbly than I would normally aim for, but it has its own character, which I ended up really liking. Just like the looks of the board, I think it doesn't fall into any of the usual categories. There's something really comforting about the Synthtlabs 60, and I'm not talking about the typing experience again. I think despite its unique looks, it does indeed feel very familiar, and that's a good thing. When I first saw pictures of this board, I imagined it taking up a lot of space from your desk. It looks larger in photos than in person. The top does go deeper than usual, but that doesn't take away from any important mouse real estate. The railing too, it doesn't get in the way, and other than being a make-believe sheet holder, it also stops your keycaps from being pressed down if you flip it around, at least the top row. I again don't know if that information was useful, but now it's out there in the wild and flourishing in our collective consciousness. I want to talk about 2 more things before I wrap this up. First, these keycaps. They were sent to me as well after I pointed out their existence and the perfect opportunity to match these 2 up. But in retrospect, just like those 2 friends you thought would make a good couple, this wasn't such a good idea. That's because the synth spacebar gets stuck every time I push it down. Maybe you noticed that during the sound demo where I swapped it out with the DMK one. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to do any typing at all. At first, I thought the stems were too close together, creating too much tension for the bar to be released again. But after measuring these and comparing them to other spacebars, which all work by the way, I'm a little lost to who the culprit is. To make things even more confusing, the synth spacebar works just fine on any of my other boards as well. I also replaced the stabilizers just to make sure it wasn't the TX steps, but to no avail. At least with the Turok V2s, the problem persists. The other issue I have concerns the keycaps exclusively. If you look at the stepped caps lock here, you can see the finish didn't make it all the way into every corner. The right shift key also has a slightly brighter shade compared to the rest. I would have hoped for a more uniform coating here. It's always a pity seeing issues like this. Even if this isn't one of the super expensive brands, they still cost 80 bucks. These are also dye-sub PPT caps, meaning the lettering and icons aren't the result of multiple plastic pieces being molded together, but rather by the method of applying a graphic after the keycap has been fully shaped. This allows for these intricate designs with small details and multiple colors. The trade-off is possible misalignments and graphic fading after extensive years in service. I have never experienced the latter, but misalignments are common. Not here though. These are some of the best dye keycaps I've seen so far, considering the complexity of the graphics. They are spot on and level. I would have loved to check out the Artisan as well, but I have a really cool alternative, the Swap from Keebwerk. If you're like me and have the urge to have at least one metal tooth on your keyboard but can't always get a hold of the matching Artisan, this might be an option worth taking an interest in. It's a standard cherry profile cap but with a replaceable top. This way you can mix and match until it fits, which in this case is the black one with the gold top, and I gotta say, unlike the keycap set, this matchup did work out. Whether or not you and the Synthlabs 60 are a match though, I don't know. The entry fee is quite high at $429 inside the EU and $399 outside. Euros that is, but you do get a very nice board and one that probably isn't part of a big run, hence the price. The Synthlabs 60 also won't push the custom keyboard space into new heights, but then again, to reach the Billboard Top 10, you don't need to reinvent the music, it just needs to be a really good track, and this one's a really good track. Hey, thanks so much for watching this musical entry into the world of keyboards. Just for transparency, the board along with the keycap switches and even these nifty little trays were sent to me, but I'm not being paid to say anything, and I never will be. I still want to thank Keebwerk for sending this out though, and of course you for watching the video. Let me know if you have any questions regarding the board or anything else. And again, thank you so much for watching and see you in the next one. Bye! Classic.